Hey, I'm Abby and welcome back to the Life Work Balance YouTube channel. Today I want to talk to you about burnout. Now this could be burnout in your current job, this could be burnout in your job search, this could be burnout in your life in general. So regardless of where you might be experiencing burnout, I hope these 5 tips will help you overcome it. But before we jump into those 5 tips, please go ahead and give this video a thumbs up if you're looking forward to these tips and hopefully implementing them after you learn them. And if you haven't already, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button as well as the bell so that you can receive life work balance advice delivered directly to you every Sunday. And if every Sunday isn't enough for you, I am live on Twitch every Tuesday offering my career coaching office hours. So this is a time where you have an opportunity to have live question and answer with me about any career related questions you might have. So these could be career trajectory questions. These could be how to get that promotion. This could be job search related questions, how to write your resume, how to interview, how to write your LinkedIn profile, cover letters, etc. So if you have any questions that could be related to your career at all, please go ahead and join me on Twitch on Tuesdays. I used to hold my office hours on Mondays. I am no longer holding them on Mondays. They are now on Tuesday evenings. So if you have a Twitch channel, please go ahead and follow me. I've linked to my Twitch channel in the description box below. And if you don't have a Twitch channel or if you've never been on Twitch, join me so you can check it out. So now that we've got all of that general housekeeping taken care of, let's jump into our 5 tips about how you can overcome burnout. So again, this is regardless of where you are in the career process or where you are in life. So if you are experiencing burnout and you're experiencing burnout because you're job searching and you're just sick of it, or you're experiencing burnout in your current job and you're considering job searching, or you're just burned out in general with work and with life, I hope these 5 tips are valuable to you, and I hope you can implement them as soon as this video is over. So before I jump into the 5 tips, here are some signs and symptoms of burnout. You are exhausted and tired all of the time. You lack motivation, whether this is motivation to just get out of bed or motivation to do any work, whether this is at your job or in your job search. You wake up in the morning and you don't want to follow through with the rest of the day. You don't want to go to your office. You don't want to open up your computer so that you can apply to more jobs. You are sick at looking at your resume. You're in a perpetual bad mood or you're irritated easily. You make simple mistakes that you wouldn't make in a normal situation. You might even be experiencing physical symptoms like an upset stomach, a headache, or just being perpetually under the weather all of the time. So if you are experiencing any of those symptoms right now, there may be others that you are experiencing. Hopefully these 5 tips can help you start to reverse those symptoms. Why might you be experiencing burnout? Well, if you are in a current job or job searching, it might be because you lack any structure or you don't have a schedule. Maybe you're putting in long hours. Maybe you're more focused on quantity rather than quality of work or applications. Maybe you feel like you never have any time off and you can't take a break and you can't engage in self-care or the things that are important to you that are not work related. So if that sounds like anything you are experiencing, here's my first tip for you. First and foremost, stop what you're doing and take a break. Clearly, what you're doing right now is not working. So you need to press the reset button. Now, this may be easier said than done, but being able to take a break, even if it's just one day or a few hours, can really help you in jumpstarting the reverse burnout process. Whether this means taking a single day off from work, maybe you take a Friday off so that you can have a 3-day weekend to really rest and recharge. If you're in the job search process, maybe that means you take a day off from your job search so that you can really just relax and take care of yourself. Maybe it's more than a day. Maybe you need an entire week. The point of this isn't to say stop what you're doing and then while you're relaxing, think about how guilty you feel for not actually doing the work or applying to jobs or doing what it is you think you should be doing. You need to give yourself permission to take a break so that you can actually come back with a fresh mindset and be ready to continue whatever it is that you're doing. So this will be up to you to decide how long you need for a break. Now, if you say, well, I didn't job search for the last 3 days, so that was a break. Well, you need to consider if maybe the entire time you were on that break, you were beating yourself up for not applying to jobs. You were beating yourself up for not updating your resume. Maybe you're in your current position at work and you feel like you can't take any time off because there's no one who can do what you do. If you burn yourself out completely, that's actually going to be worse for you and for the organization as a whole. So take a day, take a week, take whatever time you need to rest and recharge so that you can come back and continue being the best employee, or you can continue being the best applicant that you can be. So again, the amount of time that you will need in order to rest and recharge will ultimately be up to you. Maybe try taking 1 day. If you need more than that, take more. But you need to take a break. You need to stop what you're doing because clearly it's not working, and you need to get on the path to increasing and improving your mental health and overcoming this burnout. So once you've taken that break, now it's time to create a schedule and stick to it. This involves creating boundaries and saying no to certain things. So if you're in the job search process, maybe this means that you create a schedule and you have a 4-hour time block set aside each day for you to job search. That might include 2 hours of searching for jobs to apply to, 1 hour to update your resume, and another hour to follow up on jobs or search through your email to make sure you haven't missed any interview requests. Now that's just an example. That doesn't mean that you actually have to follow that specific schedule. You need to figure out what's going to work for you when it comes to creating a schedule. What doesn't work is just winging it. The night before, take a look at your schedule for the next day so that you can get yourself ready and in the headspace for preparing for that day. Make sure you have a time that you are set to wake up. If you are unemployed and you do not have a job and you're in the job search process, do not just sleep in until you wake up. Job searching is just like having a job. So if you're job searching, you need to treat it like a job. You need to wake up at a reasonable time every morning, hopefully at the same time so that you can keep a consistent schedule. You need to maintain your schedule. Maybe you have certain things that you're coordinating, like interviews, whether that's in-person interviews, Zoom interviews. Maybe you have time set aside to apply for jobs or search for jobs. Then you need to have time set aside to update your resume and your cover letter and all of your application materials. So if you can create a schedule that works for you, that schedule and those boundaries will actually help you be more effective and efficient. The same concept applies if you're in your current job and you're not able to actually feel like you're being productive or you're not motivated. If you can have a schedule and you can stick to it and you can block out time during your day for very specific tasks, even breaks, that will help you be more effective and efficient with your time. So you may not get this right with the very first schedule that you create, and that's okay. It's going to be a few rounds of trial and error. But once you figure it out, you will be amazed at how more effective you are when it comes to completing tasks and how motivated you might be during the day. So tip number 2, create a schedule and stick to it. My third tip for you is to prioritize healthy habits and self-care. Now again, this may feel easier said than done. However, when you're creating that schedule and you're sticking to it, make sure that you schedule time. Make sure you schedule time for exercise. Make sure you schedule time to eat. Make sure you schedule time for breaks and time off. And especially make sure you schedule when you start and you end your day. That will then give you some buffer time so that you know when you should be sleeping. Now, it may seem silly or it may seem very straightforward, but sleep is one of the most important things to actually recovering from burnout. Humans need, on average, 7 to 9 hours of sleep per night. Now, you may need a little bit more, you may need a little bit less, but on average, humans need between 7 to 9 hours of sleep every night. So make sure that you're using your schedule and you're even scheduling in time for sleep. So make sure you prioritize those healthy habits and self-care. One of the things that I always forget to do is actually eat lunch during the day. And so then I find myself sitting at my desk for several hours at a time, and that is not healthy. So you need to prioritize your self-care and you need to prioritize those healthy habits. So prioritize your sleep. Prioritize what you're eating and when you're eating. Prioritize taking breaks and engaging in exercise. Now, when I say exercise, that doesn't mean you have to take 3 hours of your day to do strenuous cardio and strength exercise. What it does mean is working into your day at least 30 minutes of exercise. Exercise could be anything that gets your heart rate up. So this could be a walk around your neighborhood. This could be a bike ride. This could be going to the gym and taking a group fitness class. Whatever works best for you, schedule it into your day and prioritize it. When you're able to prioritize those healthy habits and that self-care, you will start to feel more energized and motivated to do the things that you weren't previously energized and motivated to do. When it feels like you don't have enough time in the day, go back to tip number 2 and create that schedule and stick to it. You'll find that with that structure and integrating that self-care and those healthy habits, that you will start to feel like a better human being, physically, mentally, and relationally. My 4th tip for you is to remind yourself of these 2 concepts: the area of focus and the outcome equation. So the area of focus is one of my favorite concepts to share. It's a Venn diagram, so it's 2 circles, and one of the circles is things that matter to you. The other circle is things that you control. And when you take those 2 circles and you overlap them, the overlapping area is your area of focus. So that's the things that matter that are also within your control. If you focus solely on the things that matter, but you don't necessarily control, you are going to give yourself an ulcer with worrying and being frustrated about these things that you ultimately don't have control over. And it's the same thing if you worry about all the things that you control, but they don't necessarily matter. If you're worrying about these things that you control, but they don't necessarily matter, again, you're going to make yourself sick with anxiety and worry and stress. So if you can think about the things that you can control that also matter, that will be the best way to focus your energy. And if you can focus your energy on those things, and not just the things that matter that you don't control, or the things that you can control but don't matter, you will find that your overall demeanor, your happiness, your effectiveness will all start to increase. Your anxiety levels, your worry levels, all of those negative feelings will start to decrease. So it's all about focusing on the things that you can control that also matter. So let's use your commute as an example. Now, this could be a commute to your job. This could be a commute to a job interview. This could be a commute to a friend's house for dinner. Let's say that there's traffic on this commute. You cannot control the traffic. So getting obsessed and focused on the traffic is not going to benefit you. Yes, it might matter because it may impact what time you get to that interview, what time you get to your job, what time you get to that dinner. But can you control it? No. So getting worked up about traffic is not going to be healthy for you. It's not going to be beneficial for you. However, if you can anticipate the traffic and you know that you may not control it, what do you control? You control what time you leave your home. So, while your commute, that is something within your area of focus. The traffic is not within your area of focus, but the time you leave your home is within your area of focus. And you can get to wherever it is that you need to go on time if you leave early or if you leave by a certain time from your home. So even if there is traffic, and even if that sets you back, if you choose to leave earlier than you normally would, you can avoid the stress and the anxiety that that traffic might cause. And then you'll be early to where you're going, or you'll be on time. So that's just a simple example of how you can use the area of focus to really focus your energy and where you're spending all of your time thinking and processing what you are going to do and what you might be worrying about. So if it matters, is it also within your control? And if it's within your control, does it also matter? Area of focus. One concept that I absolutely love. I apply it in my life, both personally and professionally on a regular basis. I hope you can do the same. The second concept I want to share with you is the outcome equation. The outcome equation is E plus R equals O. E is event. R is your reaction. And O is the outcome. So let's use the exact same commute example. The event is your commute. And your reaction to that commute will determine the outcome of that situation. So if I am frustrated, I'm yelling in my car, I'm flipping people off, I'm giving them the stink eye and nasty faces while I'm driving by them, I'm maybe going too fast, that can result in negative outcomes, like a car accident. It can result in me being just in a bad mood overall. And so my reaction to that event determines the outcome. However, if my reaction is cool, calm, collected, going with the flow, understanding that there might be traffic and that it's not within my control, and that's okay. I left early, so I'm not upset. That reaction to the event of the commute will lead to a completely different outcome. I will get to where I'm going safely. I will get there hopefully on time, maybe even early, and I will be in a good mood. So E plus R equals O. Event plus your reaction equals the outcome. Considering your reaction to any event impacts the outcome will help you begin to overcome this feeling of burnout. And combining this equation with the area of focus will really help you overall become a more effective, positive, and happy individual. You will hopefully be able to start to pull yourself out of that burnout feeling, that negative lack of motivation space, and get to a place where you can be more effective and happy. And finally, the last tip that I want to share with you, tip number 5, is a concept that I learned from reading Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Now, this is the concept of effective time management, and this will also help you create boundaries. And so this is called the time management matrix. The time management matrix is made up of 4 quadrants. On the top part of this matrix is urgency. So you've got one column that is urgent and another column that is not urgent. On the side of this matrix, you've got importance. One row is important and the other row is not important. So Q1 is any task that is both urgent and important. These are things that you really can't avoid and that you have to get done. And they're usually last minute, like I said, emergencies. Things that might appear in this quadrant are things like crisis, tight deadlines on a project, or health emergencies. Ideally, you want to avoid spending your time in this quadrant because this will quickly lead to burnout. So if you're experiencing burnout, consider how many of the things that you're spending your time on are both urgent and important. Those last minute emergencies that come up that require your attention and that you can't put off. Quadrant 2, things that are not urgent but are important. The tasks that fall into this quadrant are things that will help you achieve your goals and ensure that important work gets done. Ultimately, the things that fall into this category are essential to the success of your personal and or professional goals. Ultimately, you will aim to invest the majority of your time on a regular basis on the items that fall within this quadrant. Not urgent, but important. Things that might fall into this quadrant include planning your day or planning your week, relationship building, and true rest and relaxation, exercise, healthy sleep habits, and healthy eating habits. So these are things that are not urgent, but are important to your overall success. The third quadrant includes things that are urgent, but not important. Ultimately, spending your time in this quadrant will prevent you from spending your time where it matters most, which is quadrant 2. These are things that are done last minute and take up a lot of your time, but are not necessarily important. They're of no significance to any of your goals. Things like this might be phone calls that interrupt you while you're in the middle of your job application. It might be someone popping by into your office needing to have a quick meeting with you, when in reality it can be scheduled for a different time. Emails are also something that might fall within this category. And finally, you have quadrant 4, things that are not urgent and not important. Ultimately, this is the quadrant of waste. Anything that falls into this quadrant really should be avoided because it's not helping you achieve any goals and it's not important either. Things that might fall into this category would be binge watching a TV show. Watching a TV show for rest and relaxation would fall within quadrant 2. But binging a TV show, spending your entire weekend watching all 5 seasons, is not a good use of your time. But watching one show, as hard as it might be to not binge the others, is a good use of your time. The other thing that might fall within quadrant 4, the quadrant of waste, is spending hours scrolling through your phone, scrolling through applications like Facebook, Instagram, watching 500 YouTube videos in a row, watching TikToks. Now again, those things can still fall within quadrant 2 if you have specific dedicated time to those activities. They fall into the quadrant of waste when you start to just scroll endlessly and you suddenly find that you've wasted an hour to 6 hours on these applications and you haven't gotten any of your other important tasks done. Understanding this time matrix can actually help you with all of the other tips that I just provided you before. It helps you set boundaries, and it will give you a way to really decide how to prioritize and use your time most effectively. Ideally, you will spend the majority of your time on tasks that fall into quadrant 2, the quadrant that includes tasks that are not urgent but are important. Then you'll spend the next most amount of time in quadrant 1, things that are urgent and important. But ideally, you don't spend the majority of your time in that. And you'll spend minimal time in quadrant 3, things that are not important but urgent. Those are things that you can delegate and put off for later that you do not need to address in the moment. And then hopefully you can completely eliminate time spent in quadrant 4 on things that are not important and not urgent. So spend the majority of your time in quadrant 2, then address the emergencies and crises as they come up in quadrant 1, completely eliminate the tasks that you have worked on or that you've spent time on in quadrant 4, and then spend very little of your time in quadrant 3. So to quickly recap my 5 tips. 1, stop what you're doing and take a break. Clearly what you're doing right now is not working and you need to reset and start fresh. 2, create a schedule and stick to it. Having structure will help you be more effective at managing your time. That will also help you be motivated and actually be more effective in completing what it is that you need to complete. 3, prioritize those healthy habits and self-care, like eating, sleeping, exercise, and taking time off. Taking those regularly scheduled breaks. Even if it's just 15 minutes to stand up and go walk around your house, let your dog out to go to the bathroom, or take a quick walk around the block. Prioritize those healthy habits and prioritize self-care. 4, remind yourself of the area of focus and the outcome equation, E plus R equals O. When you use these 2 concepts, you will be able to effectively figure out how you can react to certain situations and really where you should be spending your time. Should you be spending time worrying about things that you don't control or that don't matter? No. Worry about spending your time on things that you do control that also matter. And consider how your reaction to any event will impact the outcome of that event. And finally, my 5th tip, consider the time matrix, which is a concept from Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Ideally, you will spend the majority of your time in quadrant 2, the quadrant where you complete tasks that are important but not necessarily urgent. You completely eliminate the time you spend in quadrant 4, you reduce significantly the amount of time you spend in quadrant 3, and ideally, your work in quadrant 2 will reduce the amount of time you spend on emergencies and crises that come up in quadrant 1. So I hope this video was helpful. There was a lot of information in it. Burnout is something that we all will likely experience at some point or another in our lives if we're not currently experiencing it right now. So I hope these 5 tips will help you overcome burnout and hopefully get on a path to recovering from burnout, being more rejuvenated, energized, motivated, and excited about what it is that you're doing. Whether it's your actual job, your job search, or life as a whole. So if you found this video helpful, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And if you have any questions, comments, thoughts, or ideas about burnout, the symptoms that you've experienced of burnout, maybe what has helped you in the past overcome burnout, please share them in the comments box below. I love reading through all of the comments that come through. I will respond to each of them individually. So again, if you have any questions, comments, thoughts, or ideas, please put them in the comments below and I will get back to you as quickly as I am able. And if you haven't already, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button as well as the bell so that you can receive life-work balance advice delivered directly to you every Sunday. And if Sunday isn't enough for you and you want more one-on-one coaching with me when it comes to your career, your job search, whatever it might be, join me on Twitch. I am on Twitch live streaming every Tuesday night. So please, if you are interested in joining me on that live stream, go ahead and give my Twitch channel a follow. I've linked to it in the description box below. And I will be available to answer any of the questions that you might have about your career or your job search. So with that, thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this video helpful, and I'll see you next week.